Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple, the Golden Bachelorette duo, got engaged at the end of their season and are now revealing whether they are compatible. After season 1 of the Golden Bachelorette, Joan and Chock have been coping with the turmoil of integrating their two families, as well as trying to find a place to live in New York City while retaining separate houses in Rockville, Maryland, and Wichita, Kansas. Despite the fact that they've been plagued by questions about their relationship, they're still deeply in love. In an interview with Splurge, Chock and Joan said that they are not just profoundly in love, but also believe they are well compatible. Chock stated that from the start, he prioritized determining whether he was compatible with Joan. He elaborated, "What I'm looking for is someone I'm really compatible with, and we got really lucky because you can be in love with someone. But if you're not compatible, it's not going to work out." Chock asked, "What are your non-negotiables?" "We discussed it before deciding whether we were two persons capable of making it." "Do you have the same morals and beliefs?" Joan continued, "And the same hopes for the future. When you're younger and looking for a partner, you want to establish a family and you're not sure what your life will be like. Now that we know what our lives will be like, we can focus on what the future holds." Chock, "What I'm looking for is someone with whom I'm very compatible, and we were quite fortunate because you can fall in love with someone but not be compatible. What are the things you will not compromise on?" "We discussed it before deciding whether we were two persons capable of making it. Do you have the same morals and beliefs?" Joan, "And we have the same hopes for the future. When you're younger and looking for a partner, you want to establish a family, and you're not sure what your life will be like. Now that we know what our lives will be like, it's time to focus on the future." It's really perceptive of Chock and Joan to distinguish between being in love with someone and being compatible with them. Many Bachelor Nation couples fell in love on the show, only to discover that their lives did not align in the real world. This leads to their breakup shortly after the show concludes. It's fantastic to learn that Joan and Chock discussed their non-negotiables, principles, values, and future goals. Joan and Chock's engagement will result in marriage and endure forever, since they had these vital chats before becoming engaged. Following the divorce of the Golden Bachelor duo Jerry Turner and Teresa Nist, many people questioned whether the Golden Bachelorette was still worth watching. They believed that a dating program with older people would be even more difficult to negotiate than the original Bachelor and Bachelorette because the leads and candidates' lives are already set, with long-standing obligations to their families, friends, and careers. It is more difficult for them to integrate their lives, especially because they do not live close together. However, Joan and Chock have proven to be one of Bachelor Nation's most formidable couples. The explanation for this is now clear. They discussed the most essential aspects of their lives before committing to each other. Rather than getting caught up in the fairy tale of falling in love on the Golden Bachelorette, they had practical conversations that demonstrated that they may be compatible in real life as well. Joan and Chock are wonderful for each other, and we wish them all the best in the future. The Golden Bachelorette was a momentous occasion in the world of reality television. For many, it was refreshing to see mature love take center stage. The show offered the promise of rekindling romance in the later years of life, with contestants looking not only for companionship, but also for someone who could share in the joys, challenges, and hopes for the future. And at the end of the first season, two hearts beat a little faster for each other, Joan Vassos and Chock Chapple. Their story captivated audiences across the nation, with Joan, a successful career woman in her late 50s, finding love with Chock, a charismatic man from Wichita, Kansas, who shared her zest for life and commitment to building a relationship based on emotional depth. The couple got engaged at the end of the season, but as they began their post-show life together, their journey was far from simple. In an exclusive interview with Splurge, Joan and Chock opened up about their ongoing relationship, revealing how they've navigated the complexities of blending their families, balancing long-distance dynamics, and staying true to their love, despite the pressures of public scrutiny and family expectations. The couple also shed light on how they discovered the true nature of their compatibility. When Joan and Chock first met on the Golden Bachelorette, there was undeniable chemistry. But as with any relationship, the true test lies in compatibility. In their interview, Chock shared that from the very beginning, he knew that his focus needed to be on understanding whether he and Joan were truly compatible, beyond the surface-level romance. "What I'm looking for is someone I'm really compatible with, Chock explained, leaning forward with a thoughtful expression. You can be in love with someone, but if you're not compatible, it's not going to work out. And in a relationship like this, especially after being through so much in life, I knew it had to be more than just passion. It had to be something that would last. His sentiment echoed the heart of their relationship. It wasn't enough to simply feel attraction or share similar life experiences. Chock emphasized the importance of getting clear on shared values early on in their relationship. What are your non-negotiables? We talked about that before a decision was made to see if we're two people who could make it. He continued, Do you have the same morals, the same beliefs? Joan chimed in, reinforcing the idea that compatibility wasn't just about romantic feelings, but rather a meeting of minds on deeper issues. It was also about understanding what we both wanted for the future. When you're younger and looking for a spouse, there's a lot of unknowns. You want to start a family, you want to know what life will look like. But now, at our stage in life, it's more about knowing what the next chapters hold. For both Joan and Chock, it became clear that while love was foundational, having shared goals and a similar outlook on life was the cornerstone of their relationship. Joan, who had already established a successful life and career in Rockville, Maryland, found herself aligning with Chock's approach to life. His calm demeanor and unhurried perspective seemed like the perfect counterpart to her bustling, sometimes unpredictable life in a major city. Chock, who had spent years as a bachelor in Kansas, found in Joan a woman who matched his pace and brought balance to his life. As they reflected on their journey, both expressed a sense of relief that their expectations had been aligned. We didn't want to just be a couple for the sake of it, Joan said. We wanted to be a team, and that requires understanding each other at a level that goes beyond, I love you. Blending families, challenges, and triumphs. But even with strong compatibility, the path to happiness wasn't without its bumps. One of the most challenging aspects of their post-show life together has been blending their two very distinct families. Joan's two grown children, who live on the East Coast, and Chock's family in Kansas, all had their own expectations and emotions about the new relationship. Family drama, as Chock and Joan explained, wasn't something they could escape. Joan's children, both of whom are in their 30s, initially had some reservations about their mother's relationship with someone so far from home. My kids were protective, and rightfully so, Joan admitted. They've seen me go through different relationships, and they wanted to make sure this wasn't just some fleeting moment for me. They didn't want me to rush into anything that could potentially hurt me. Chock faced his own set of challenges with his family. Being from a small town in Kansas, where everyone knew each other, the dynamic with his relatives was different. I come from a big, tight-knit family, he said. My siblings are close, and they were concerned about how someone from the outside, someone who's not from the area, would fit into our world. To navigate these hurdles, Joan and Chock decided to make their families a priority. They spent months traveling between Maryland and Kansas, giving each other the space to build relationships with their respective families, while also carving out time to focus on their own relationship. At the same time, they worked together to find common ground between their families, ensuring that both sides felt included, valued, and heard. The hardest part was definitely figuring out how to balance the two worlds, Joan reflected. But over time, both families came to see how happy we made each other. That helped. Once the love was evident, they understood that this was something real. Chock agreed, adding that being open and honest with both families about their needs and feelings was essential. We couldn't pretend everything was going to be perfect, he said, but we worked through the hard stuff together. The key was keeping the communication open and showing each family that we were committed to each other and to them. Another major hurdle for Joan and Chock has been the logistics of their relationship. With Joan living in Rockville, Maryland, and Chock residing in Wichita, Kansas, the long-distance nature of their relationship became a significant challenge.